G'day everybody, my name is Bruce Smith. I'm the Vice President of Radius Gold. I'm bringing you the Sprott Conference live from New Zealand this year. We won't be flying anywhere for a little while, but luckily Radius has got field teams operational in Mexico and in Guatemala. So we've got a lot of progress, and I'd like to update you on what we've done since I was here a year ago. So we may as well get right into it. So why would you buy shares in Radius Gold? The key to our company is the three quality projects we have at the moment. We've got the Amalia project, which is a fully funded joint venture with Pan American Silver, where we've had outstanding drill results. We have the newly discovered Plata Verde. I found that within the last year, and I'll take you through that project. And we have the new Guatemalan joint venture with volcanic gold mines. Those are historic projects of Radius that we've kept for a long time because we believe that Guatemala is a great place to be geologically, and now we think that politically is the right time. And lastly, we're always making new discoveries. So before next year, when I come back again, you'll see a new project in this space. At Radius, we've got a great management and executive team. Simon and Mario are the founders, where Simon and Mario are also the founders of Fortuna Silver Mines. Fortuna Silver Mines has got a market capitalization in excess of $1.2 billion today. They've got 2 mines in production and a third currently in construction. Bradford Cook's also on our board. He's the CEO and founder of Endeavour Silver. Endeavour's got 3 mines in Mexico and 2 in development, so our board is competent, successful, they know how to execute. Our technical teams in the field are outstanding. All of our discoveries are grassroots discoveries that we've built into quality projects, and we've been able to attract quality partners to a number of those projects over the years, shown with our Amalia project with Pan American Silver and now a new project with volcanic gold mines. First of all, I'd like to go and discuss our work in Mexico. So we're in the Sierra Madre Gold Belt. It's a world-class terrain. The map in front of you has got a number of crosses representing mines. Those are not small projects. They are large-scale mines run by international or large-scale Mexican companies, all in excess of 1 million ounces of gold, or mostly. Last year, I talked about our Amalia project, which was in an area that we thought was a gap in the exploration in that terrain. It's right on the border of Sinaloa, Durango, and Chihuahua. Basically, a lot of companies over the years were scared to go there because the Sinaloa cartel controlled that area, but we went and we've worked without problem for years. And I told you all about Amalia last year, and I said that we would go into this gap and we would find another one, and we have. It's called Plata Verde, and I'll tell you about that in a moment. First, we'll start with Amalia. When we first drilled that in 2019, Mining Intelligence put out this report for half the year saying that we had one of the best gold holes in the world, and that includes exploration, feasibility, and mine development. Our hole 10 was a phenomenal hole. We drilled 44 meters at 12 grams gold and 309 grams silver. This photo in front of you of the core from Amalia, all that glitters in that is gold. That's an Electrum silver gold cemented breccia, very high grade, running 50 grams gold and nearly 1 kilo of silver. And that piece comes out of an interval of 11 meters of nearly 40 grams gold and 323 silver. So if we look at the cross-section of where we've been drilling this project, we've now drilled 3 phases of drilling here. Our team, Radius team, handled the first 2 phases of drilling, and after we drilled that whopper hole, our joint venture partner Pan American Silver decided that they would like to take over operation, and they drilled the phase 3. You know, of course, I would always like to run all the operations, but when Pan Americans took over, it gave our team a chance to get out in the field and find new things, which we subsequently did. So just going through the main ore shoot at San Pedro, we have now traced that ore chute from surface to 350 metres in depth through 3 phases of drilling. We are preparing for the 4th phase of drilling now. That core hole number 10 in the middle, 44 metres at 12 grams and 300 silver. True width on that is about 35 to 37 metres. We've drilled underneath it again and again, dropping down about 100 metres every time. And the latest hole was lower grade but a lot bigger. The intercept was 120 metres at 1.53 gold and 21 silver. Included in that, the core high grade section was 23 metres at 4.61 gold and 41 silver. Now that's a really economic intercept if you were going to mine underground. Those sort of grades and that sort of width is great material. So we're now waiting for phase 4 drilling. The slide that I'm going to show you is the long section of the San Pedro. The coloration is highlighting the gold and silver values. You can see in red are the holes we've drilled, and in yellow are the holes we plan to drill. So we've now chased this ore chute down in the middle. It's wide open, and we look forward to drilling those yellow holes as soon as coronavirus allows. Each time we drill a phase of drilling, we step down 100 or 200 metres, keep chasing this ore chute down. How far can we chase it? That's the question. So the San Dimas mine goes to 1,500 metres depth, the main ore chute that's been mined. And Radius Gold at Amalia, in a very similar style system, we've only drilled down vertically about 300 metres so far. We'll trace the ore chute down to 350 metres. So we've got a long way to go. There's huge potential to keep tracking this ore chute down. A lot of these Serra Madre deposits go on for a very long way. What else do we have at Amalia besides the San Pedro ore chute? We control 800 hectares in new licenses that we've recently acquired. In total, the Amalia project is in excess of 10,000 hectares. We've got 10 kilometres of prospective veins and structures. We've drilled only one core area, the San Pedro high-grade area, and then we have multiple other targets that we've developed in the last year that have not yet been drilled. There's a Californian target, which was the most recent. We've got surface rock chips grading up to 27 grams of gold. We've got the Palmias target, which has never been drilled. Again, we've got great surface rock chips, 4 metres at 9.5 grams gold and 73 silver. Guadalupe and El Cuervo. So across 10 kilometres of veining, we've got multiple targets, and we hope to be drilling those in future. But right now, the next phase of drilling coming up with Pan American is just going to be continuing to define those ore chutes and find out how big San Pedro is. When Pan American took over the drilling from us, that liberated our team to go out and look for new things. And when I was here at the Sprott conference last year, I talked about this exploration gap, and I talked about how good our exploration teams were and that we were going to go out and find something new, and we did. The project is called Plata Verde. It's very unusual. It was unknown, undocumented. I could not find anything on a geological map anywhere in the historical archives. In the Geological Survey of Mexico, there is no information about this project. So we believe that it sat idle for more than 150 years, and now we've rediscovered it. So why is it a remarkable project? You just have to have a look at a few of these images that I'm going to take you through. This was large-scale bulk underground mining. The caverns in here that were excavated in the late 1800s, maybe early 1900s, were done with hammer and chisel and black powder, and they are enormous. If you look at the scale of the people in those photos, that main hall in the Mina Mojanera is 30 metres high, at least 70 metres in diameter, probably more like 100 metres in diameter. That's bulk mining underground for silver conducted in the 1800s. It's just unheard of for this not to have been documented. And to have a look at some of the photos on the next screen that I'm going to show, this is a road into a mine that we called Mina Real. That's big enough to drive a truck down, and this was all done, 150 years ago. The next photo of Plata Verde again is just showing a great big anastomosing series of caverns and caves where they've excavated these breccias, they're barite silver breccias, taken them out and processed them. The locals don't know who did this. There's local Indian and Spanish families, just a few of them live there, and their grandparents don't know who was mining here. But when we first went in and started looking around, you'll see a guy standing here in the middle with two great big silver discs in his hand. We found those on the floor of the mine. We were taking samples, and one of my sampling crew picked up an old sack off the ground. It fell apart and silver bars fell out, half-kilo silver bars. So it's pretty unheard of. In the image beside, there's another friend of mine, Joaquin Monera. He's standing next to painting on the wall that says L1. Now that L1 is Latin for 51, of course. These were painted on the walls to indicate by the miners the number of the mining area. That's number 51. There's 53 mining areas within those mines. And I've been to hundreds of mines across Mexico and Latin America and Central America, everywhere. And I've never seen a mine so clean. There's no sample tickets, no spray paint. There hasn't been another company in here ever. There's no sampling done before. All that remains is the painting of the mining halls done by the original miners back in the 1800s. So why is this undocumented, this project? The Plata Verde project is hidden. It's a hidden mining camp. This photo kind of shows why. It's capped by an ignimbrite cover. You can be standing right on top of the mine and you don't know it's underneath your feet. The host rock is a dark basaltic mafic unit, so it doesn't look very well. And that right in the middle of that image is the portal to that giant mine. You can't even see it. It's just hidden in the trees. There's no oxides. There's no sulfides. So the waste dumps are not scandalous. Usually they'd be leaking iron and things like that. But you can walk straight across that waste dump and not even know what you're looking at. And that's why this thing is sat for years and years unknown. We have 3 types of mineralization. We've been mapping the mines, and just to show you what kind of mineralization we're finding. We're finding breccia pipes that are cemented by barite and silver sulfides. This is an epithermal system. It's unusual because there's no silica. It's unusual because there's no gold. It's a silver-only system. And it's barite hosted. We have these breccia pipes that cover an extensive area, as you'll see in the following maps. We have stockwork hosted mineralization, where all the basalt is just fractured up and every fracture is filled with barite and silver sulfides. And we have disseminated mineralization that we've recently discovered. It's not obvious because it's got no veining, it's got no barite, it doesn't look like very much, and it's dark underground, it's hard to see, the silver is black, but all that black shiny stuff in that image is actually silver sulfur salts. So going down to what we've found underground within these mines, we've just recently conducted another phase of mapping. We've done now several phases of mapping. If we look at Mina Real, the Mina Real system is an anastomosing series of caves and caverns and excavations on multiple levels. It covers an area of more than 200 by 200 square meters, 200 meters wide by 200 meters long. So it's a large area. The central core of it is a breccia pipe, and the grades in there that we're getting average probably somewhere between 1 and 200 across the whole system. But pockets of very high grade, samples up to 870 grams silver, 500 grams silver, 300 grams silver, and quite phenomenal grades. If you look at the Mina Mojanera, again, it's centered on what appears to be a large breccia system within the basaltic host. Again, through that breccia system, some very high grades, 400-500 grams silver. And on the margins, within the stockwork system, within the disseminated system, we're still getting what could be economic grades at bulk mineable levels underground. It was certainly economic in the day. In the 1800s, we believe they've removed nearly 1 million tonnes. And the mine stopped suddenly. We don't know why. Could have been for flooding or earthquake or the Mexican Revolution in the early 1900s. But they obviously left in a hurry because we've found silver bars laying on the floor of the mines. So the blue in those images is water. These mines are probably more extensive than we've mapped, but the lower levels are filled with water and we can't get into them. So that image shows the different kinds of mineralization, the scale of the excavation. And if we look at the regional setting, Mina Mojanera in the north, Mina Real in the south, these mines cover a distance of approximately 700 metres long by 200 to 300 metres wide. There's a gap in the middle, but we believe they're connected. We can't get through the lower flooded caverns. And these are covered. So this image that I'm showing you of the regional geology does not have the mine sampling on it. It's the superficial sampling, like that's what's on top of the mine when you walk around on the ground. And as you can see from the Mina Mojanera, all those little samples up there in blue and yellow, they're low grade. So right above the mine, if you're standing on the surface, you can be sampling the rocks and you get an anomalous silver, but you don't get high grade until you get in and underground. These mines are being capped by a rhyolite cap. They're mostly not exposed, just along the edges of what appears to be a north-south fault exposes some of it, and then you enter underground. So what's the potential here of Plata Verde? We have just started to work on it. We've been going about 6 months. We've done a lot of detailed underground sampling. We can see that these things are open in all direction. It's open to the east principally and north. That would be my pick of the targets, but also to the west we have good grades but no excavation. And to the south we're getting very strong stream sediment silver anomalies across the river, across the gorge, about 300 or 400 metres away, which we have yet to explore. So the mineralised unit is capped by rhyolite, but we can get up on top of that rhyolite and drill through it, and that's what we'll be doing. We're developing our drill targets now. Our next phase will be to do some geophysics in preparation for drilling as soon as the current coronavirus situation allows us to. Meantime, moving on to Guatemala. What have we done in Guatemala? Radius Gold had historic licenses. We've been operating in Guatemala for around about 25 years, or our group of management has. Simon Ridgway and the team, and I was part of that, some of that work early on. 20 years ago, discovered the Cerro Blanco mining development project now. The Cerro Blanco mine in Guatemala was sold by Simon. It had about 1 million ounces at the time, and that was sold to Glamis Gold Mines, and subsequently Goldcorp worked on it, and now Bluestone has it. So we've been there since the early days. We've got a lot of projects and we've held on to them because the Guatemalan government, to be honest, hasn't been great in the last 10 years. So we believe that now's the time. Guatemala's got a new government. It's a world-class district. The Escobal mine is nearby, and that's one of the largest primary silver deposits in the world. We have a huge package of land, 240,000 hectares of properties. We have high-grade gold and silver projects in Holly Banderas that have relatively limited and shallow drilling done in the past. That's to find some great anomalies. We've got some good zones to follow up. We have an experienced local team. Some of the guys there, Rodrigo and Alex, have been working with me. Rodrigo for more than 20 years. Our chief geologist, Alex, has been working with me for 18 years. They're local. They live by the projects. They're ready to go. So we've made a deal with Volcanic Gold Mines. It's a 60-40 option agreement. Volcanic earning 60% interest in our Holly and Banderas projects. They have to spend $7 million US on the properties within 48 months, with $1 million spent within 12 months of receiving the first drill permits, with a minimum of 3,000 meters of drilling. Volcanic also has a year to evaluate our 240,000 hectare property group, and if they like any of those other properties, they could enter into a deal with us on reasonable terms. So there would, likely be new deals coming out of that. So if we look at the land situation and where our properties lie, we control the majority of all land between the Escobal mine and the Cerro Blanco development project. Yep. And along the Hocotan Fault, displays of which control the Escobal deposit, we have the Holly project, and just off that we have the Banderas project. So those projects are advanced with some drilling. The rest are applications for exploration, and this is fantastic ground with a lot of anomalies that just haven't been followed up or worked on for in excess of 10 years. So we've popped this into this joint venture deal with Volcanic Gold Mines. They've just raised $5 million. So we expect to see a lot of activity on these projects in the coming months. So the Holly project first, the summary of it, there's high-grade gold and silver drill intercepts. There's just 15 shallow drill holes. All the drill holes will generate less than 150 meters deep. There's a possible fast track to establish a small high-grade gold resource that we could truck it down the road to Bluestone's planned plant. And then there's the overall project of looking for that giant deposit similar to Escobal, and there's real potential for that. The image here is of a road cut through the Hocotan Fault. This is the same fault one of the displays off it controls Escobal, and this fault has never been drilled. There's been some drilling on it, but parallel to the fault, drilling splay veins on it, but the big robust Hocotan Fault that's altered and gold mineralized has not yet been drilled. So at Holly, to give you an impression of the types of targets we have, this map here shows the Hocotan Fault cutting from east to west and cross-cutting mineralized systems coming across it. And where there's been a little bit of drilling is at the intersection of those systems, and there's been some spectacular results on that drilling, which I'll show next. But what I'd like to talk about is, those cross-cutting systems are extremely high grade. We are seeing, if you have a look closely at that image, it's difficult to see on a video presentation, but I'll just read you some of the grades. 79 grams gold, 7 kilos silver. 34 grams gold, 1 kilo silver. 112 grams gold, 5.6 kilos of silver. These are from prospecting samples, never been drilled. Channel samples, a meter at 110 gold and 3 kilos of silver. A meter at 33 gold and 1.5 kilos of silver. Again, never been drilled. So 2 targets here, the cross-cutting vein stockworks and the overall Hocotan Fault system. Yep. If we move down, I'll try to explain that better. There's a drill table here. I don't necessarily expect anybody's going to read the table of drilling, but one thing to see from this is that all of the holes are very shallow. The intercepts here are from 30 to 50 meters deep. That's nothing. And there's some fantastic intercepts in there. There's 6 meters at 43 grams gold and 1.6 kilos of silver. And really, those intercepts, as you can see, running along the Hocotan Fault system, drill parallel to the fault into the splay veins. We have yet to turn around and drill across or chase the splay veins out. Now, there's a 1.5 kilometre long trend of anomalous soils that that we have to dig up and start trenching and prospecting and define those high-grade zones so we can build a resource. If we build a small resource, we could of a couple of 100,000 ounces at those high grades that I'm talking about, we can easily truck that down the road to Bluestone. But our goal is to find that big standalone deposit, and there's plenty of potential for it. An Escobal world-class gold, silver epithermal system, it's there, that just needs work and drilling. If we move on to Banderas, Banderas is nearby to Holly. Just a few kilometres away, but it's a different system. It's an epithermal gold-silver system, but this is rhyolitic domes come up. There's been some drilling on the structures within the rhyolitic domes, but also the domes have a huge brecciated margin, which has never been tested. So there's only 49 drill holes. It's quite a few more, but lots of good intercepts. They didn't really hang together, but as you'll see in the next diagram, there's huge potential here for discovery. These vein systems that were originally drilled at Banderas were sitting right on the top of a rhyolite dome. And for some reason, past drilling, walked to the top of the dome and drilled at a high elevation. And again, if you look down that drill table there, all the intercepts are relatively shallow, 20 to 30 metres, 50 to 60 metres. The deepest one there is 160. And when you have a look at the Escobal discovery, you'll see what I mean when that's really shallow. These two veins dip towards each other, and they're predicted to converge at depth outside of the dome into the sediments. That's the place we want to be. We're going to put deep drill holes down there, and the target is an Escobal style deposit. If you see the comparison between Escobal mine, which is owned by Pan American Silver, and the Banderas project, the Escobal deposit starts at about 200 metres depth below surface, the core of it. The real centre of that deposit is about 400 metres down, where the volcanics transition to the sediments on a fault. There's just a huge blowout. If you look at the Banderas project right beside, we have these nice, very high-grade veins at surface dipping towards each other. Where they converge at depth, where the volcanics goes to the sediments, has never been tested. That's the right kind of place to find a big deposit. That is one of the targets at Banderas project. The other target, which I actually like a lot more maybe, is the Zapote target. Zapote is on the margins of that rhyolite dome. It's a huge 3.5 kilometre long brecciated margin to the rhyolite dome. There's a lot of geochemistry, soils, the odd rock chips, but it's mostly covered. It's never been drill tested. The anomalies are open in all directions. And when you go to the next image, you'll see why this has not really been worked on very much. This image shows the rhyolite dome, which is high. It's like a big mountain, with Zapote as the brecciated margin beside it. Now, all the rubble falling off that dome basically covers Zapote, and you don't see much at surface. When you're walking around, it just looks like a rubble field. But across 3.5 kilometres, in windows through the rubble and small outcrops, we're picking up great grades. In this particular image, 3.9 grams of gold and 971 silver, or 10 metres at 2.15 gold. We just need to get some geophysics done on that Zapote target and get in and drill it, and there's a real chance for a large deposit there. So moving on, the regional agreement. The blue license is our regional applications. 240,000 hectares worth of regional applications, and there is a lot of early stage stream sediment geochemistry and a few rock chip prospecting there. You can see in the middle in red we have the Holly and Banderas projects with a large density of sample data. We have given Volcanic 1 year to look at this. They've got 5 million in the bank. They're going to be out there prospecting like crazy, because after a year, if they like any of it, they can make an offer to us for that. If they don't get it done within a year, we'll be talking to other people. So there's a lot of land there, and we expect to be generating new projects within it. We already have early stage projects identified, several of them. I'm just going to show you one in the next slide because they're very early stage. We haven't done much work. We've grabbed some prospecting samples. But as you can see, this Motawa Norte, one of our geologists went up there, a lot of veins, and some of these veins have huge flakes of chunky gold with grades up to nearly 400 grams silver and 400 grams gold and 2.3 kilos of silver. Yep. So never been drilled, not really been worked on. This is, new to projects that are going to come in future. So overall, Radius has a royalty on the Tambor mine, which is suspended currently in Guatemala. We've got the Thakalula property adjacent to Fortuna Silver's San Jose mine in Mexico. There's royalty holdings there that might come into effect. Our market capitalization currently is 29 million. We've got in equity and cash holdings, we've got $4 million, so we've got plenty of money to go along. We won't be doing any dilutive raisings in Radius at the moment. And so we're in a good position to fund ongoing exploration that we have at Plata Verde, fund ongoing exploration in terms of finding new things and acquisitions. And we have 2 companies now funding our operations at Amalia and Guatemala. Looking forward to 2020 and beyond, we hope to see phase 4 drilling as the coronavirus allows at Amalia, and that's funded by Pan American. We'll be defining drill targets at Plata Verde. We would like to see drilling on Holly and Banderas projects in Guatemala. We have the regional exploration, 240,000 hectares of licenses in Guatemala, and that will start promptly. And we have a whole team of guys in the field in both Mexico and other parts looking for new projects. We've been very good at finding projects, and I can guarantee you we'll have some new ones. Last year when I was here, I said we'd find one, and we did. We found Plata Verde, and by the time I get here to the Sprott Conference next year, I can almost guarantee we'll have a new one there as well. We're negotiating some new joint ventures at the moment. We hope to have one of those concreted pretty soon on some properties we've got in Mexico. So we've got a lot to look forward to in the coming year, and I look forward to coming back here again next year and giving you an update again. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate the fact that you've come along to listen. Have a great day.